Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a brand new year with our Charlie Mike series from the National Veterans Small Business Coalition to you. I'm thrilled to be here with you today. We're kicking off the new year with a new refresher, just an update on do you know where you're going? We'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors, BAE Systems and Bank of America. We're sponsoring the Charlie Mike series. Please reach out to them and tell them thank you for their generous support to our program. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce you to our moderator, John Cochran. Hi, John.
Hello. Hey, what's going on, Marie? How are you?
I'm great, John, doing really well. I'm just thrilled to be here today.
Absolutely. And how's the world doing? I hope the world is doing just as great as you, Marie. My name is John Cochran. I am the consulting manager with the National Veterans Small Business Coalition. And I'm not just thrilled like Marie, but I am excited. I'm excited about this position. I'm excited about this nonprofit organization because me as a veteran, I get to help other than veterans. I get to help make an impact on what the veterans is doing in their small business as entrepreneurs. As I am an entrepreneur, so I'm double happy about what I'm doing and what I'm offering to these other veterans who is trying to find out where they are going. So Marie, I'm ready if you are.
I am, and I will be today's speaker. So you got the new kids on the block with the organization. John and I are here to introduce ourselves to you at the start of the new year. I am the director of training here at the National Veterans Small Business Coalition. So let's jump right in, John, and let's get started. First, a little overview about the National Veterans Small Business Coalition. We're empowering veteran small businesses. We have 15 amazing programs and services that engage tens of thousands of professionals within the GovCon ecosystem. What you can see in the slide is our 3 pillars of training, networking, and advocacy. We're a nationally recognized nonprofit, and we represent over 48,000 veteran-owned small businesses throughout the United States. We're a business accelerator that supports the veteran community to become procurement ready, to sustain procurement readiness, and to make connections that you need in order to grow your small business. And where that ties and where you'll see both John and myself are at several of these upcoming events. Both John and I are going to be at our amazing Vets 24 conference with the rest of our team. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida, and it's at a new venue, the Rosen Center, which is a 4-star conference facility and hotel. So both the facility and the hotel co-located. We have 50,000 square feet for the exhibit hall. So you know what that means, John, right? Comfy shoes for us girls. Yeah, because that's what that means. And it's twice the size of Vets 23. So, and for those of you who tried to get into Vets 23, remember it sold out last year. So registration is open, sponsorships are open, exhibit hall floor, all of that is open for you to go ahead and start rocking and rolling and register for the conference. We so look forward to seeing you there. It's the premier veteran conference. So now, John, what's it all about? It's a new year, right? And the big question on the plate that I have for our companies is, do you know where you're going? And being a Detroit girl, I love the Diana Ross. And so this tune just kind of popped right into my head. So it's like, it really equates to business owners. Do you know where you're going to? AKA, do you know what you're all about? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Do you like where your business is going? And where are you going? Are you going to be venturing out on new paths, new programmatic areas, or new government agencies? So these are things. Do you really know where you're going? And then do you get what you're hoping for? Are you getting those returns that you want? When you look behind you, there's no open doors. You've already moved forward. So what are you hoping for? And do you really know?
Marie, I like that. You almost swallow me up with that. Do you know? You almost got me singing. Do you know where you're going? Oh my God.
Do you
Yeah,
know what life is? Yep, that's my
yeah,
girl
yeah.
Diana.
You almost got me. You almost got me. I was swallowed up.
So this presentation is a refresher for all of you. It's a review. So those of you who have been in the business for a long time, you may be rolling your eyes like now, oh, this is a repeat of 101, but there's going to be a few little extras in there to kind of keep you engaged, as well as have you re-examine. That's the purpose of this presentation, is to examine your business to ensure it's ready to go after the contracts or into new market areas. So it helps you, it's going to help you identify if your business is or isn't positioned correctly to do work with the federal government or new agencies that you may want to go after. Also, to focus on the right government agencies, right, to partner with for contracts, and examine the basic and operational best practices that are successful in the GovCon community. So many of you already know this. Again, a continuation of, are you ready? Do you have those registrations and certifications locked in? Like your SAM registration, your dynamic small business search, prime contractor sites, and then everyone always thinks of the socioeconomic category certifications for veteran-owned small business, service-disabled veteran-owned small business, HubZone, women-owned and economically disadvantaged women-owned, and the 8A, as well as industry-specific certifications. So a few call outs just right in this very first bullet is, if you have expanded your business, you have targeted or honed down your business, you want to make sure that your SAM profile reflects that. So that, what does that equate to? NAICS codes, right? And also making sure that you go ahead and update your SAM profile. That then flows into the dynamic small business search. And if you're working with large prime contractors, if you've registered in their vendor databases, you also want to make sure that you've updated those prime contractor, those prime contractor database sites so that you are current and up to date. And then from an industry standard, if you have expanded and you've gotten ISO 9000, you're now FOSI cleared, or you've gotten professional certifications as it equates to your business operations, you want to make sure that that is updated in your website. And again, dynamic small business search, you want people to be aware that, hey, I've updated, I've expanded, and I'm re-energized myself. That rolls into your capability statement as well. So you want to keep it. Go ahead, John.
I wanted to add this about the registrations and certifications. I think it's imperative that people know that now it is a yearly requirement for you to recertify. They want to make sure that those businesses that are registered are up to date and stay up to date. So there are only two options for you to recertify. Number one, for you to go into sam.gov and you to do it yourself, making sure you know what you're doing. Number two, you have to go to a third party and hire someone to help navigate you through that process. Only two options to recertify, but that is a yearly requirement as of now.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks. And so why are we talking about making sure registrations, certifications, capability statement, website, all of that good stuff? Because it also parlays into networking and relationship building. So how are you positioned? Are you ready for the networking scene and the relationship building? Because if I'm researching or looking for you in the dynamic small business search, or if I'm a prime contractor and I'm at a conference, I'm going to be going to these different sites, and if your information isn't updated, it could jeopardize some relationship building. Not that it definitely would, but I would sit back and say, they haven't kept their information up to date. And then a refresher, understanding the government procurement process. This is key. Do you know how the Fed procures goods and services, especially your particular product and service, and understand the bidding and proposal submission process as well. Different agencies sometimes have different procurement guidelines and processes. So if you are targeting a particular agency, Homeland Security, Department of Energy, Health and Human Services, you really want to understand that government entity. And then compliance and legal, considerations. We've seen a lot of changes with FAR regulations. And so you also want to make sure that your business and your operations comply with relevant laws and regulations. We're continuing down that journey, John. We're going down that list of checking the box for the refreshers. Financial stability. Make sure that you have records that demonstrate your stability and also your reliability, especially if you're looking at expansion, capital expansion, going after additional monies. You need to make sure that you have the financial statements up to date, for our banking community. Technology and security measures. Everyone has heard about CMMC, and also ensuring the protection of your business and your client or customer data. That's also critical. So you kind of want to do another review of that. And then quality management systems. If you're in manufacturing or you're in an industry area, where quality certifications and compliance, you want to make sure that you've done a review of those. And then you want to train your team on effective bid and proposal writing techniques and to develop an approach with regards to going after bids and proposals. And then, the performance monitoring. You've won the proposal. Now you need to make sure that you're monitoring the work and that you have reporting locked in and structured so that you're able to track key metrics and also be able to report out on project performance to your customers. So, going to kind of do a little bit. So those were kind of general reviews of different areas. Here, some areas to really focus on for you as the business. One thing that I've seen in my consulting and also from a small business advocate perspective is that businesses really need to understand their niche and their expertise. I would often advise clients, we would walk through an exercise of who are you? Who are you as the business? What is it what do you do? And how do you do it? And what delineates you from the rest of the pack? If you are in, cybersecurity, the ultimate question you need to be able to answer is, why do I want to hire you as opposed to another cyber company? What are your golden nuggets? What are the things that you're able to provide me as a program manager or as an agency that distinguishes you from other companies? And so you're going to say, oh, okay, so that's the very first thing. And that's something, John, that oftentimes is very difficult for companies, believe it or not, to kind of get a focus on is who are they as, as the business. But that's critical because then that determines into the second bullet here. Businesses are then going to research government agencies, and their procurement portals, right? If I want to be everything to everyone, do I, as a business owner, have time to research 10 different agencies if really what my focus area is only 3? Time is critical for the business owner. And so again, going back to the first bullet, you really want to understand your niche, your expertise, what you bring the customer, and how you're able to help support their program, because then it flows much easier when you do your research for government agencies and also their procurement portals. Remember the previous slide, their procurement process. Right. Also, then it helps you in targeting your networking arenas, right? What industry associations and events do I need to go to? Time is critical, and you have a very limited amount of time. And then that also helps you utilize small business resources as it relates to those agencies that you're going after. And then your research and development on past contracts. And where do I go to meet these procurement officers or the small business team or, networking events that large primes that support the agencies I want to work for? Where do they go? And then also understanding the goals of the agency and their initiatives. What is NAVFAC Southeast doing with regards to their Navy facilities? What are their issues? What are their concerns? What does Health and Human Services need with regards to their programmatic areas, or Department of Agriculture? And so it's important to really focus, because then it makes your research, it allows you a targeted plan of action in knowing what events to go to, who to network with, and also be able to give your presentation, your capability, pitch at a much more targeted level. It also allows you the opportunity to consider subcontracting opportunities. Is BAE at every outreach event that I'm going to? If I need to be able to relay to BAE what it is I do, where do they go? How do they look for suppliers? How does Lockheed Martin or Honeywell or L3 Harris? So it all ties back to the core. Who are you, and understanding your niche and how you provide value. And then to wrap up, evaluating contract vehicles. Everyone always thinks there's GSA. Several agencies may have different contracting vehicles that you can go ahead and also put in your profile of contracting vehicles. All right. We're going to take a little grounding breath here, because we've gone through a lot of information in a very short period of time. So I wanted to put this slide in to talk about best practices. So when you're navigating the GovCon community, it requires a combination, as you have seen in the previous slides, of successful strategic planning. You also need to be compliance, adherence, relationship building, and operational excellence. Those are pillars to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Again, the best practices, those businesses that oftentimes will excel, is they understand the procurement process. They understand the GovCon process. They definitely have been able to identify their niche, and they're able to relay what their niche is in a succinct and succinct manner to contracting officers, small business advocates, and potential teaming partners. They maintain compliance and they build a capable team. At Sandia Labs, we would always say we hired the best and the brightest at the laboratory. It's the same for your business. Based on who it is you are hiring the best and the brightest to help your business succeed in order to meet mission requirements of the federal government. And then you establish a strong financial management overview of management of your company. And this then equates to what? Your relationships with your bankers, those people who invest in the business or for capital or for expansion of your business. And that means also continuous education and training. In order to stay compliant, to be able to understand the procurement process and keep your financials sound, you need to be learning and what's going on in the marketplace. And I'm going to say the development of your capability statement, it's not a one and done. Just because I've done that capability statement 5 years ago, I've updated it. Have you really updated it for the agency? Do you have a past performance statement to also include when you're out and about doing your pitches, with various GovCon, within the GovCon community? From an operational perspective, best practices to really kind of think about our effect. So we've talked about a lot of different information in the previous slides. You're probably thinking, where do I start with all of this? And so where do you start? So the key question goes back to where we started. Do you know where you're going to? Do you know who you are? What is it your company performs? What service or products do you provide? And do you know where you want to go? What agencies, where do you want to deliver that product and service to? And how do you want to do that? Do you want to take a subcontracting approach to be a sub to a large prime? Do you want to go after the prime work directly? And so components that you'll see here on this slide is a great overview of things that you really need to kind of stay focused on. You need to know yourself. And so by identifying who it is you are, what it is you do, I have clients go ahead and do a brainstorming session of just writing down all of your keywords that describe you. Just write down everything that you do. And I tell people, don't think about it. I know that sounds weird, but just do that data dump. After you've done that data dump, you go back and look at that list, and then you'll see a natural delineation of your service offerings. So what do those keywords do? Those keywords then help you with identifying NAICS codes. It also helps you with your dynamic small business research and identifying partners, collaborators, and competitors. Now, John and I can help you through that process through our consulting program here at NVSBC. It also helps you, the next facet of doing research. What type of data analysis do I need to see where this particular partner or collaborator or competitor is, and who buys from them, and who do they sell to? And so that's your competitors, partners, or potential partners and collaborators, but also for yourself. Who are you currently selling to? And you also want to know from the agencies, who else are they buying from and why are they buying from? How are you going to do that? Networking events, outreach events, Vets 24 conference. You're going to be able to start networking to learn that agency information. And that rolls into, you need to know your industry, and you need to know the suppliers in your industry, which includes your competitors. And I said this at the Tampa business networking event earlier. Competitors are a good thing because competitors keep you on your game, as well as you see where your competitors are going, and they're of benefit to you from the standpoint that they keep you on your game. They keep you engaged and not in a complacent status or in a complacent mode within your particular industry area. And that's critical because GovCon is a very competitive environment. So you need to know who your potential partners and collaborators are, and what to enhance, and what do they do to enhance their business standing within the GovCon arena. Competitors, you want to know what contracts they got awarded. You want to know who they worked for in the past and the types of certifications and contract vehicles. And oftentimes you can find this information on their website, and definitely within the dynamic small business search profile if they're a small business. And then finally, know your government entity, understanding their buying patterns, their funding, how does the funding come in, their forecasts, budgets, and procurement registrations and regulations. They're not all the same. Subcontractors or the large primes will have different types of procurement registrations and regulations that are applicable to you, as opposed to the federal GovCon. All right. That was a lot of information, John.
That's a lot of information for them to take in, but
I know. And so some closing thoughts. One size does not fit all. I can have two companies in the same industry area, but they have two different focus points. Their vision and their mission of their company are totally different. So it's critical. Again, I know I'm hounding on this, John. I'm just really hounding like that sassy aunt that comes to Thanksgiving dinner who's always just, she won't let that bone go, right? You know, it's like you really need to know your company's vision and mission. Who are you? You have to always be able to perform your deliverables. That's, on-time delivery, meeting quality standards, and offering product and/or service at a fair and reasonable price. It is about relationships, and it is about customer service. And ultimately, it is about ensuring programmatic and mission success for the federal agencies and the large prime contractors. When you view things in that light, I'm part of this NASA program to ensure that this space shuttle gets to the moon. Takes a whole different, it's a whole different focus than, yeah, I'm providing you some screws for a platform, right? There's a different level of passion there. Every federal agency, every technical person wants to know that the business that is supporting their program is as passionate about it as they are. And so that's just something to kind of really keep in the back of your mind are these closing thoughts. And with that, John, I'm kind of open for some questions here. Okay.
Let me say this, Marie. Even with us being new kids on the block, I have had the profound pleasure and talking to a number of business owners of this month. Not only business owners, because we talk to everybody within the business that the owner would allow us to talk to, right? We talk to staff members, their employees. I've had the pleasure just this morning of talking to an admin assistant, only because she's probably not just doing administrative work, right? She's doing some other things that's vital to the business as it relates to responding probably to RFPs and RFIs, things of that nature. But one of the questions and one of the things I would like to know, as well as some of our business owners, is what are some of the common pitfalls that you see businesses do in GovCon realm?
You know, I think the biggest thing that I see is the business getting complacent. You know, I've been doing this for, 5 years. I know how it all works, and then just escalate that. I've been in this arena for 10 years, 15 years. I know everything I need to know. It's kind of getting a borderline arrogance, right? I think because that's when people rotate out, right? We know, because we're very seasoned professionals, that the kids on the block, they change. It's the same in the GovCon community. Buyers will rotate. The buyer you had for 5 years has now gotten a promotion. The buyer you've known for 10 years may now be retired. There's new regulations and there's new things that are developing to be on the cutting edge, especially in technology. And if business owners or the businesses themselves or the staff get complacent and not keep current, that ultimately can lead to a loss of contracts. Wow. I think, to me, that's the biggest thing. I've seen over the course, of the 17 plus years in the arena, I've seen companies, ebb up and hit that complacency, and then something happens in the marketplace, and then they're scrambling to try to meet current or new demands. Yeah.
Wow. Listen, even John, who is a veteran, John, who is a business owner, John, who is also SDVOSB certified. There's some things that I can do in the course of my role here at NVSBC in terms of giving advice or giving guidance to what business owners may need to grow their business, to take it to that next level. But there may be some other resources that are available. I know we hear a lot about the Apex Accelerator, who I believe, Marie, was once called PTAC, but what can they offer or do in addition to what we might offer?
Well, they will help with SAM registrations, also with certifications. Again, the Apex Accelerators are no-cost consulting. Funding comes primarily from the Department of Defense for the Apex Accelerators. They also will help with the development of capability statements, and they also will help in understanding the procurement process as well.
Okay.
And then,
okay, good. Listen, here's another one. Again, I'm speaking on behalf of business entrepreneurs, our veterans, and these are some things that are coming up. They have their service offerings. They want to charge in. They want to obtain these federal contracts, but they're missing some steps. Some of the steps like researching and marketing, though. But what is, Marie, the best way to research exactly what the government may or may not need?
wow, that's a class in and of itself. And, we actually have had our last Charlie Mike presenter did go over that topic. So they can go back and they can look at that at a very, very high level. Okay, with respect to researching for opportunities, several different venues, there would be the government databases like sam.gov. there would be networking and outreach events like Vets 24 or industry days offered by the federal agencies, also with the large prime contractors as well. And then there's going to be agency websites, and then agency procurement sites. I'm also going to say resource partners such as Small Business Development Center, Apex Accelerators, Minority Business Development Centers as well. All of those are different platforms for various types of data to help the business owner figure out who's buying what. And that, John, is at a very high level. This is really, and this is where a consulting session is really critical, because as I mentioned during the presentation, I can have two janitorial service companies who want to go after GovCon work, but they're in two different markets. One may be within, hazardous waste, and the other may be office buildings. One may do clean rooms, and, one may do hospital rooms. So that's where having a consultation is critical. And that also is where the business owner has truly defined who he is and what it is his business is performing. Because there's many different paths. Keep in mind that guide into the world of government contracting, right? That guide can take you in any different path. And so that's why it's critical that the owner of the business has a vision and a mission for how he wants to grow the business and where he wants to take it.
Wow, good information. Marie, I definitely see you not only as a GovCon professional, but I also see you as that GovCon expert. And I kind of want to put you in the mind of the business owner. I want to ask you this question on behalf of the other business owners. What business the businesses that have a lot of service offerings and not necessarily in the same arena, what advice could you give to them when they're trying to kick down the front door of federal contracting?
Wow. Is there any kind of service area you're thinking of, John, in particular?
Well, absolutely. And I'm talking about companies or a person who may have several different companies, or they may have service offerings in the areas of construction. I also do technical work. I also do education. I also do training. I'm doing all of these things. And really, when they look at their CAPE statements, I may be doing all these things, but it's not really flushing out what they're really offering or doing.
Okay. If I had a client come in and say, I'm doing construction, I'm doing training. What was the other one? There was another.
Technical services.
I'm doing technical services. And we'll just leave it at those three. The first thing I'm going to ask is, who have you done work for in the past, right? Who is your past performance with, and what did you do? I'm going to ask, what's your primary NAICS code? Because I can see construction and training, and, I can see the three of those together. However, I need clarity on what is your primary. Who are you? What do you do? And I will drive that question. That's a root cause analysis question, right? You ask why, 5 times. Well, instead of the why, I do the who are you 5 times to really drill down. When I see a business that has I'm doing 5 things in 5 different industry areas. I'm going to be somewhat cautious if I do not see a strong synchronization and synergy of those industry areas that performs a primary function. And let me explain, that may not have, somebody says, I'm doing construction, I'm doing training, and I'm doing security. Okay. What do you do? Well, I'm a construction security guy. What does that mean? Well, I have key relationships with the security system providers. Who are those? And then they give me the names. And so what do you do? Well, I go in and I do consulting on security installs. Well, what does that mean? Well, and this is how it actually goes, John. Okay, I'm not making, and I'm using security as an example.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, well, I'm a security engineer where I can go into a business and, the business needs, installation of security systems, not only from their IT perspective, but from a building infrastructure. Oh, is that why you also have construction? Well, yeah, because, I go in, I do an analytic assessment, let's say it's just for the building. I go and I do an assessment for the building and I tell them, these are the types of product lines that would be best given their operational needs. I provide consulting service. I can do the install. That's so when I hear the whole story, it's then kind of taking it apart, saying, you know what, you probably need not an overarching capability statement, but you probably need a few other capability statements as well. You may need one for security consulting. You may need one if you're a reseller of security systems, one that just focuses on resale. Or construction doesn't appear to be your primary, but it's a supplemental service that you provide to your customers.
Right.
And so you want to call that out on your capability statement. And this, John, is why it's so, so important that businesses reach out, especially, they'll say, I'm not getting any business. And I have all of these professional certifications. And then I have, the SDVOSB certification. And I don't understand why I'm not getting anything.
Right.
It's because of how they're positioning themselves in the marketplace. And it's how they are networking or presenting their capabilities to the customers. There may be a glitch. And if they reach out to us, we're going to be able to kind of take, a look at what it is they're doing and how it is they're doing and guide them to resources that we know, as well as be able to provide them some additional insights. So, again, each business is so unique, and the passion of the business owner is important to be able to understand where he or she wants to take the business. Does that help?
Wow, absolutely. Let me do this for you. I know we just concentrated in several different areas, 3 to be specific, right? Technical services, construction, as well as education and training. Let me focus right now just on one. Let's just say the education and training. One of the things, Marie, that you have profoundly shared with me is that even with education and training, there may be a number of companies who have that same service offering. So you shared with me that there needs to be a niche. Can you expound on that?
Right. somebody will say, well, I do education and training. And okay, what kind of education and training? Are you in executive leadership training? Are you in staff training? Are you doing Excel, Word? Are you doing computer application training? And that's at a very high level. So let's say a business is, well, I do executive leadership training. Okay. You do executive leadership training. I'm going to say, what types of certifications do you have around executive leadership training? And by certifications, professional certifications in that arena. Again, I'm looking for delineators, distinguishers. Training, educational services in general is a very competitive market. If I am trying to help somebody and I'm in executive leadership and training, okay, so what are you training the executive leadership on? Is it behavioral situations? Is it how to be more productive? Is it, on legal compliance? Is it on strategy and growth development for your business? You see where I'm going with this, John, don't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because each of those have such a unique niche in and of themselves. If I look at behavioral training, is that of the leader, or is that to help the leader develop his employee base? And there are people that do that targeted type of training. So now I have little Cindy Lou who comes in and says, well, I do training and coaching. Okay. Tell me more. I need to know more. What kind of coaching and that? Because in order for us to help the owner, they need to know that that they have something unique and special to be able to provide the agency. Again, it goes back to, why do I want to hire you? Right? If I'm looking, especially in executive leadership, what kind of certifications do you have? Who have you provided service for in the past? How can you help my leadership grow and be better? Right? I mean, that is a really unique market, and it's a very competitive market, but it's also a very rewarding market, for those businesses that are in there. And by rewarding, I don't mean like tons of money, but I mean from a personal standpoint, because you're helping other individuals grow and flourish, not only themselves, but their business and their employees as well through education and training.
Okay. You know what? Let me say this. I'm talking to a lot of business owners, and they have a lot of questions. So with that, I know we can go on for the rest of the day, just trying to put those questions out there, right? I'm gonna have one. I got one more question that I want to ask you from the position and perspective of these business owners. And when I say I'm talking to a lot, I'm talking to business owners with the socioeconomic status of being a veteran or woman-owned, minority-owned, DBE status, hub zone, 8A cert. But they have one thing in common. A lot of them are trying to, again, kick down the front door of that federal contract. They're trying to get that first contract. So one of the things that I'm offering or advising or trying to share guidance with is that of subcontracting. Can you tell us from a GovCon perspective, what are the advantages of subcontracting or teaming?
there's a lot of advantages with subcontracting. You're developing a relationship with the prime, number one. And so that in itself is key, and I don't care who the prime, is. It's you're developing a relationship within that particular industry area with a large prime. You're not taking on as much risk. You have risk because you need to deliver to the prime contractor, but not all of the far flow downs that the prime gets sometimes do not all flow down to the subcontractor. So in that perspective, not as much risk as when you are awarded the contract directly. You have all of the regulations and all of the requirements flow directly to you. It is, and there are companies that don't ever want to be a prime contractor, right? Because they're very happy providing their product and or service directly to the prime. That is their sweet spot in GovCon. I have run across companies like that. And in some situations, a business may be highly specialized. It could be a small business that is highly specialized, that there are more subcontracting opportunities available to them than actual prime contracts in the GovCon. So I don't know, did that answer the question, John?
Absolutely. I'm great. I'm good. I hope the business owners understood that as you kind of conveyed it.
And so, John, here's the thing is that's why the networking events, that NVSBC has, as well as our conferences, and then our consulting program, they're all ways for the business owner to be able to ask their questions, and if we don't know, we will find out, right? We have the resource base to reach out and find out and guide them to a subject matter expert that would be able to answer their question. Absolutely. And so that's the amazing thing here at the NVSBC is that we have that resource base to be able to do that. And I really want to highly encourage people to ask questions, because that's critical for the development of their business. And on an industry basis, to go back to this last question, is that subcontracting strategies sometimes are different based on the industry area as well. So I'll leave that carrot dangling.
Marie, I want to say thank you for answering those questions. I want to say those answers were somewhat prolific. Can you say that? Go ahead and pat yourself on the shoulder. They were prolific. Because I'm sitting here and I'm full, right? I'm full of knowledge, I'm full of wisdom, and I am full of understanding. So to the world, to wrap this up, my name is John Cochran. I am the consulting manager at NVSBC, and we are here to help. Please schedule your consultation today. Schedule that right now.
Right, and do stay tuned for more of our Charlie Mike series. So a whole bunch of new great things coming to you soon. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We're looking forward to meeting you and seeing you live and in person at our networking events and at our Vets 24 conference. So with that, I'm going to say ciao for now, and I'll see you soon.
That's our time. Thank you for your time.